morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Bronx Queens Bros podcast, better known as the BQB podcast. I'm Big B. We got Big D. We also got Jack B. Episode number 29. Big D, how you doing?
Doing good. We're coming off Father's Day weekend, so happy Father's Day to all those BQB dads out there. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. But I'm excited to get into this one. I don't think you two are too excited, but, it's just the nature of the business. So let's power through this one, fellas. Jack, honestly, how we doing today?
Guys, happy Father's Day, as you said, Dave, to all the fathers out there. But, guys, what a miserable weekend to be a New York sports baseball fan, man. Gosh, the Yankees and Mets look horrible. Can't wait to dive into all the misery with you guys. But first, quick message from our sponsor.
This episode is sponsored by one of the best kept secrets in northern New Jersey, Engineering and Design Concepts, a small company doing big things. They specialize in product development, manufacturing, and test equipment. If you or anyone you know need assistance in that field, they are the company you need to contact. The link to their website will be in the description below. Now, before we get into any baseball misery, ladies and gentlemen, Big D just celebrated a birthday, and I just want to wish him a happy birthday in front of all the lovely viewers. His birthday was yesterday on Father's Day. He's newly a doctor. He's aging like fine wine. Just wanted to say happy birthday, Dave, and I hope you had a lovely day.
Thank you, V. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So, Dave, as a present to you, both New York teams lost on your birthday. Both New York teams lost the series. They really wanted to say happy birthday to you. And so, I'm going to break down the Mets series kind of quickly, and we can kind of get more into in-depthness onto it in a little bit. Mets lose 2 out of 3 to the freaking last place, worst record in the National League, Cardinals. Like, the St. Louis Cardinals were the worst team in the National League. The Mets lose 2 out of 3 to them. And there's so many things that went wrong, and I keep saying it every episode. The Mets are finding new ways to lose every single game. Their offense kind of was alive Friday night and Sunday. Didn't matter, especially Sunday. Sunday was pitching woes. Carlos Carrasco didn't have it. It was really bad. Friday night was fun. Jack B's favorite Met, Tyler Big Trip McGill, shoved. 6 great innings. He looked really, really good. And Jose Quintana's coming back hopefully very soon. Just had a rehab start throwing 3 1/3 innings. So that is very promising. And I wonder if someone's going to get booted from the rotation. And if I had to pick between Tyler McGill and Carlos Carrasco, I think Carrasco's got to go to the bullpen instead of Tyler McGill. Now, I don't know if that's going to end up happening or not. Maybe that's a hot take. Maybe it's not. But that's just what I would say right now. Analytics, everything off my ass. That's just kind of how I would put. So that was Friday. Vogel back hit a home run, which was nice, but I still don't think he's showing much at the plate. It was nice to see him turn on a fastball for once. Just doesn't swing enough for me to find any promise or hope in Vogelback. Tommy Pham looked great again. He is just swinging a really, really good bat day in and day out. His outs are hard outs. He is very confident going up to the plate, and thank goodness Buck is seeing that because he's starting him every day at this point. And it's good. I'm actually happy right now that the Mets signed Tommy Pham this offseason. I probably would have been dead to rights saying that to start the season. But as of now, I'm eating my words. And I'm very glad Tommy Pham is a Met. He is performing very, very well. Kodai Senga did not have it in his start. Mets offense kind of fought back a little bit, but Goldschmidt and Jordan Walker, nice, young, promising player for the Cardinals, both homered off him. I don't know if you guys saw Jordan Walker's home run. The thing was a pitch about, face high, that he just goes oppo, and it was a line drive that just carried on out. He's 21 years old. He's horrible defensively. Has a great arm, but just horrible defensively. I know he's playing a whole new position that he's never played before in the outfield. But, the Cardinals are clearly a better team than their record is. But, you could see why they are a bad team. But the Mets just showed why they're in a real big funk by losing 2 out of 3 against them.
Yeah, V. More of the same from the Mets, right? Kind of the opposite of the Yankees, where it's just kind of been their offensive struggles. Pitching for the Yankees has been great, but for the Mets, it's really just a lot of inconsistent play all around, right? Between the bullpen,
Yeah.
the starters not being great, and then, sloppy play defensively as well. And on the bases in the series against the Yankees, there were some mistakes. It's just more of the same, and you're hoping, it's like, when is the rubber going to meet the road? When you thought like maybe that Nima walk off was a turning point, right? That would give you some momentum. You could do something against one of the worst teams in baseball record wise, but a team that's underperformed just like you guys. And yeah, you couldn't do it at home. Got to be disappointing as a Mets fan.
Yeah, definitely. A big move that I strongly disagreed with happened in Sunday's game. David Robertson gets a 1-2-3 eighth inning in the 8, 9, and 1 hitters in the lineup on 8 pitches. 8 pitches. And Buck decides to go to Ottavino for the 9s, and Ottavino ends up letting the home run. Now, listen, I like Ottavino. He's having an all-right year. He's probably the second best arm behind Robertson in that bullpen. Actually, I might put Brooks Raley in front of him at this point. But how do you just not ride Robertson in that spot? And I also don't understand why you don't bring Ottavino in against the 8, 9, and 1 hitters instead of Robertson. I would rather have Robertson face the heart of Arenado, Goldschmidt, and I think that Gorman, who's having a pretty solid year for them, or Tommy Edman probably. Like, I didn't understand that move. I don't know if that was Buck. I don't know if that was the analytics department who made the call. If that was Buck lost that game for us then. The Mets management or coaching lost us Sunday's game. Now, granted, it would have went to extras and the offense would have to still score. Yada, yada, yada. I understand that part. But the blowing the lead to pitching to Arenado with a guy who loves breaking balls against Ottavino, who a guy is known for his slider, a breaking ball. I don't like that matchup. I mean, that's just my opinion. I know his slider can get anybody out, but Arenado's a known breaking ball hitter, and he had just hit a home run in that same game. Clearly seen the ball well that day. I didn't get that move. Yeah. I mean, besides, the offense, like I said, came back, which was nice. Lindor, congratulations to him. He had another child, so congratulations to the Lindor family. He had a home run, which was nice to see. And he actually hit the ball pretty well, I would say, actually. A little better than what we've been seeing, especially in that Yankee series. So hopefully that's going to at least maybe creep him in the right direction again. Hopefully he has a big second half of the year. That's all I'm going to say. Besides that, I can't really say much. And Tommy Pham hit the big home run to tie it in I believe it was the 5th or 6th. But then the offense was stymied against a horrible bullpen. And it's just like nothing's flowing right. Every decision made is the wrong decision. And, Pete Alonso coming back off the IL like 2.5 weeks earlier than he was supposed to was a nice surprise. Sending Vientos down was a surprise for me as well. I don't know how Vogelback still has a spot on the team. That's beyond me, but whatever. And, that's all I got to say to wrap up the Mets weekend. It was... They left me with wanting more. That's all I'm going to say.
I got 3 things for you, V. Number 1, did you see Vientos went like 3 for 4 with... I'm sure you did. With like a home run and a double his first game back in AAA. Yeah, of course. Second thing, when you said Nolan Arenado, you forgot to say future Yankee Nolan Arenado, but that's fine. And third, I just wanted to say, Francisco Lindor, we should talk about how good his right-handed swing looks. Like, it looks so pure and so much better than his left-handed swing where he seems super unbalanced, super, weird with his shoulders. And I've said this, I don't know if I said it on here, I definitely said it to you, V. Next spring training, he should transition to a strictly right-handed hitter because it's, to me, just looking at it, with my couple of years of baseball knowledge through high school and watching the game throughout my whole life, his right-handed swing looks far and away better than his left-handed swing. And the numbers would back it up as well.
Oh, yeah, he looks effortless when he swings as a righty. It's just natural. And his numbers, albeit I know the average, no matter which way you look at it, is not amazing, but his right-handed numbers, I think he has 12 home runs on the year, if I'm not mistaken. 8 of them have come from him batting righty. And he's probably had half the at-bats as a righty.
Wow. Yeah.
So, you are 100% correct. I'm I get it. Maybe doing mid-season is probably a horrible call, so I like the idea of maybe once a spring training. I don't know if would do it, but that's something to look into if that trend continues for the rest of the year.
I mean, that's what Cedric Mullins did, right? And that basically saved his career. He was a switch hitter and then really struggled from both sides, then focused on one side and has had all the success in the world now. So,
yeah.
But it's tough for a guy like Lindor who's had success switch hitting and facing right-handed pitching in the past to make the decision now to be like, let's scrap all of that. Even though I've had past success, it's a bit of a difficult situation to, mentally get through. But
yeah,
the numbers would back it up, right? I mean, it's
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, Dave, let's get on to the brutalness of the New York Yankees. And not much better than the Mets. In fact, probably a little bit worse. The judgeless Yankees, once again, guys, they just can't hit. They can't score any runs. Game 1 of the series against the Red Sox, we get absolutely trounced. 15-5, an embarrassing loss. Domingo Germán was on the mound, just didn't have it. Gave up 2 runs in each of the first 2 innings. Follows that up by giving up 6 runs in the third. And just like that, in the third inning, the score is 10-1. And that was really it. There wasn't really much else to say from there. We did have 10 hits, 2 errors in the field. The defense has been horrible in the month of June. Justin Turner with 2 home runs. And, yeah, we once again just struggling to score runs. But, obviously, we weren't going to score 16, so not much we could do there. Then there was a bit of a rain, so we had the doubleheader on Sunday where the Yankees lost game 1, 6-2 after getting out to a nice lead. They throw away the lead, and yeah, it was the bullpen this time. It was a tight spot. Michael King ends up getting the loss, and yeah, 2 runs. Just, it's just not good baseball right now from the Yanks. It's kind of going back to how it was towards the beginning of the season, almost in April, and it's just, things just are not going well. You could tell people are pressing. It's kind of like what we saw from the Mets early on in the season. Somebody's looking to hit like the 4 or 5 run home run, right? Somebody's looking to be the hero, but that's not really what you need, especially in those situations. And then, once again, game 2, Yankees get swept out of Boston, only scoring 1 run. Putrid offense. Severino, once again, didn't really have it. He got smacked around. They were hitting the ball hard on him. I guess better than against the Mets, but, still not great from him. And, guys, the numbers with the Yankees have been staggeringly bad. Staggeringly bad. Like, historically bad in the month of June. Okay? So I got some stats for you guys. Batting averages on balls hit in play this year. Texas Rangers are in first. They're hitting .323 on balls put in play. The New York Yankees are in dead last, hitting .262 on batted balls put in play. 10 full batting points lower than the San Diego Padres, who are second to last. And then the Mets are actually 28th. Go figure. In the last 12 games, Anthony Rizzo's hitting .068. John Carlos Stanton, 11 games off the IL, hitting .135. DJ LeMahieu, since May 11th, 183. 183. Josh Donaldson, since June 5th, hitting .091 with 2 home runs. Gleyber Torres, since June 5th, 200. Just, and these are guys we need to be productive, especially without Aaron Judge in the lineup. You need players like this to do something, to keep us afloat. That's why we're paying these guys big money. And, it just has not been the case for the Yanks. I know their on-base percentage in the month of June, I think it was like .250 on-base percentage. Not like batting average, on-base percentage. .250. I mean, just staggeringly bad stuff from the Yankees right now. And, I feel like anytime things go south for the Yanks, I always bring up some of the front office moves, or I always bring up, a little bit of what happened when we acquire players. And Hal Steinbrenner, he made it apparent that to compete with the Astros, we needed the pitching. We need to get Carlos Rodon, and let's just go with the facts of the matter. Carlos Rodon is yet to pitch for us. We didn't add anyone in our lineup. We added, I guess, Anthony Volpe, but he's been probably the worst hitter in baseball. And we've had injury-ridden season, and what's the problem? The same as last year, the offense. The offense is just not there. So there's going to have to be a trade made, I think. And I don't know if that's, Arenado or Cody Bellinger, but it seems as though this team is definitely not complete. And shout out Josh Donaldson for letting us know that he might not want to play baseball next year. I don't know if you saw that article that came out. He's unsure if he'll commit to playing in 2024. Thank you, Josh, for that. I'm done calling you the bringer because all you bring me is tears.
That's a great line, Jack. I'm going to kind of bring up trades right now. More out of curiosity because the Mets just finished up the series against the future Yankee Nolan Arenado. Do you actually believe that the Cardinals would trade him?
I don't know. I would probably.
Are you saying at the deadline or in the offseason?
No, I would say. Well, I was saying at the deadline. That's just the stir I hear on Twitter, But I don't think they would. But I would love Nolan Arenado. Third base is a position that we have two third basemen that are terrible right now. So, and they're making a combined $40 million. So it would work. But the Yankees have shown in the past they're not willing to give up any prospects. So.
Yeah, I think the future Yankee is the guy who's playing in Toronto right now. I think it's Matt Chapman. He's a free agent at the end of the year. I think he comes over here. Great glove. I think he'd do well. He goes oppo very well. He gets in a bit of slumps, but I think he would do well for the Yankees. That's a whole that could be our off-season discussions.
Yeah.
But deadline, I still think Cody Bellinger is that perfect missing. Not perfect because he doesn't play the shorter third, which I think is where the Yankees really struggle. But I think Cody Bellinger's bat in that lineup would be elite.
Yeah, and maybe I don't know, maybe an arm too,
Oh, I mean, everybody could get an arm. I think the Mets and Yankees both have a case where they're missing one more big bat. They are missing arms too, but I think any team going to the playoffs can always use another arm or two.
Right.
I think that's just always the case. Maybe the Mets are missing definitely a big bullpen arm. I don't know if the Yankees are missing a big bullpen arm. Maybe the Yankees are missing a big starter.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if we get reinforcements like Rodon is back and he's good, right, and he doesn't have to have a second IL stint, because that's what I worry about. Or if Montas can make serious progress and he is somehow available to pitch, which they're saying is a possibility, that, that's as good as a big trade. But I don't have any faith in that right now. So that's what
do you think about former Met Marcus Stroman coming to the Bronx?
I was going to say him, but I really don't like Marcus Stroman. When I said maybe an arm, I was thinking a throw-in for the Cubs because I think he's a free agent.
I mean, you can combine Bellinger and Stroman in a package.
Yeah.
And Stroman has the lowest ERA in the National League.
He's
having a fantastic year.
Does he have a no trade clause? Because he definitely wouldn't want to come to the Yankees.
I don't think he would ever want to come to the Yankees. But what did he sign? Did he sign? What was that? A 3-year deal with the Cubs?
Yeah.
So he's not a free agent at the end of this year. Free agent next year.
Oh yeah, it might be next year. I heard him say recently he doesn't want to discuss a contract right now, which I thought was kind of weird. He's just a weird guy. I'm not.
He is a bit. I also would not trust Stroman with the ball in the playoffs.
That's also a good point.
I don't know. I think if you ever want to look at Marcus Stroman's player card, as we hear a car rumbling back through Dave's house, if you ever want to see the back of Marcus Stroman's baseball card, look at how his years go. Every other year he has a good year. You go back to 2019. You go back to 2017. Great year, All-Star year. 2018, garbage. Almost a 5 ERA. 2019 had that very good year where he got traded to the Mets. 2020 didn't play. He opted out to not play. 2021, it was a good year. And then 2022 with the Cubs was horrible. And this year he's having a good year. There's this weird trend here. So I would say you probably could rock that world and probably ride him out very high this year. And maybe he's going to have a good year all around. I don't know if moving to the AL would be good for him. But he's played in that division before. And if the Yankees do need an arm and a bat, I think the White Sox is also a really great mix. I just don't know which bat you'd want from their lineup.
Yeah, because I don't think Robert would probably be on the table, but that's the guy the Yankees would want, right? An outfielder.
Oh.
Probably not a center fielder. Like, he would be so good in left at Yankee Stadium, right? Next to Bader, he would just be perfect for the Yankees, but I don't think he becomes available. He's so young still.
Yeah, I could see maybe a Robert mega trade in the offseason, but mid-season?
No. Yeah, I guess Giolito, Lance Lynn, they're probably in that. Maybe some of the bullpen arms like Crochet, maybe, or
Hendricks.
Yep.
That's the arm I hope the Mets can get. Because, listen, Diaz was throwing recently. Diaz was on the field throwing recently, and he keeps saying he's coming back in September. So, I mean, if there is a playoff push, and if you have Hendricks, hypothetically, the Mets get Hendricks, you got Robertson, Hendricks, and Diaz for a playoff push, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that is very nice. Yeah, man. I think it's clear both teams need to make some moves. The only thing that's keeping me a little bit on the straight and narrow about the Yanks is that the Dodgers and the Astros have also had tough stretches as the Yankees have. And I think I was looking at some stat like last year when all teams had 33 losses, which I think they all have identical records, 39 and 33, Dodgers, Astros, Yankees. Last year I think the Yankees had 69 wins by the time they got to 33 losses. The Dodgers had 75. They were 75 and 33, and the Astros were like 65 and 33. And I think that goes to show you what the balanced schedule has been doing to teams where, there's really no team right now. I know Tampa got off to that really hot start, but there's not that many teams that are, getting out to these crazy win-loss records, right? I mean, there's a big middle of the pack, and you could say the same thing in the NL. The Mets are under 500, and I think if they were in the AL East, they'd be in big trouble. Like, I think they would probably be done. But because of, how things have worked out, the Mets, they're not done, right? They're still very much alive.
No, they go 10-5 the next 15 games. They're at 500, and they're probably, 3 games out of a wild card spot. For me, if they can get to around 500, whether it's 1 or 2 games down or whatever, near the trade deadline, there's every indication and every, I don't know what the right word here is, every reason to go for it. Like, there's another wild card spot where you can make it probably on 87 wins. That's, what is that, 6 games over 500? I mean, that's very, very doable.
Right.
Now, I think the division is as good as probably done, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the Braves are just a top echelon team in MLB. And the Marlins, look, these Marlins are kind of scary good, and it's their pitching. And now Jorge Soler is just hitting bombs, and Luis Arias is batting 400.
And it's not even Sandy. Sandy's been terrible.
Sandy's horrible. And imagine if Sandy was doing good.
Yeah.
So it's and obviously the Phillies are they're kind of heating up. The Mets, I think, let them get hot. I mean, yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's far from over. The panic button's getting ready, closer to hit. But we still have a lot of baseball left. The Mets have a lot of time to right the ship. And I think if they're around 500 and they go out on the deadline, and I think the Mets are just missing a legit DH, maybe a DH that could play the outfield or something. And then they get another arm in that bullpen, maybe 2. And I think they'll be okay.
Real quick, before we get into our segments, I just want to go ahead and say that I think the two New York teams are playing just as bad as those Red Sox jerseys looked. Because that was rough. Did we see that, fellas? Those yellow jerseys.
Those are absolutely brutal.
I get it. It had to do something with the Boston Marathon, but that's just not the Red Sox. So, like, I don't know. What are we doing?
The color's in their name.
You know, they're spelling it out for them, and we're going with yellow. Anyway, we are recording this on Monday for our Tuesday episode, so that means it is time for our segments, starting off with UV. I'm going to see what you got for the hot stove, because not a lot of positivity going on, but what do you got for us? Let's fire it up, I guess.
So, before I really fire it up, I'm going to shout out Billy McKinney and Jake Bowers on the Yankees. They're actually hitting well. Part-time guys, minor leaguer guys, stepping up for the Yankees. Good to see. But now to get started on the real Viton's hot stove. Big time Tommy. Tommy Pham of the New York Mets has been just tearing the cover off the ball. He's on the hot stove. I mean, the guy is just like hitting the ball hard every single time he's up. I mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to say it again. The guy might have been the best free agent signing that Billy Epler did this past offseason. I mean, like, he's just that good. Like, he's earned the right to start every day for this team, and he deserves a spot in the heart of this lineup. I mean, every out he makes is a hard line drive out. I mean, the guy, is a little shaky in the outfield, but big time Tommy Pham. You're coming up clutch and in big home runs. Big RBIs. He seems to be like just a little spark plug for this team right now offensively. And offensively, the Mets are kind of clicking right now. You know, pitching aside, nice to see the offense get going. Maybe the pitching will figure it out, and maybe we'll mesh well together at once. But super exciting. Tommy Pham, congratulations for making Viton's hot stove.
Well done to Tommy. V, can't complain with this one. I think you're spot on. He's literally the only guy on the Mets that consistently is bringing the offensive play. Hopefully that'll change with Pete back in the lineup. You guys can get a little more consistent on the offensive side of the ball. But, definitely need that to continue. Now, are you done with the hot stove, V? You have any Yanks on the hot stove or no? Besides the honorable mentions?
The honorable mentions was just me being nice to the Yankees this weekend.
Fair enough, V. Very fair enough. You know what? The Yankees have been god-awful. And there's a guy I've kind of just been blindly championing on this show. I call him the bringer. I got into it a little bit before. Josh Donaldson. I think the whole Josh Donaldson experience with the New York Yankees is coming to an end, guys. I really think in the next week or so, if Donaldson doesn't turn it around, I think he will be DFA'd. I think you gotta create another roster spot to either get Esteban Floriella, who is leading AAA in home runs, or Oswald Peraza up, who is also tearing the cover off the ball in AAA. You gotta create a roster spot. Seems like they like the bigger bullpen, and I understand that because of the lack of starting options right now, starting pitching options, so that would be fine. Donaldson has just been god-awful for the Yankees. I talked about his stats since he came back from the IL. Now we have a big sample size of his time last year and his time this year with the New York Yankees. Donaldson is hitting .215 with a .300 on-base percentage, a .386 slugging percentage, and an OPS of .686, and an OPS plus of 95. So he's clearly a below-average hitter. You get a guy like Josh Donaldson to give you a good glove at third and to hit some bombs, right? I mean, that's what you're expecting. I'm not expecting the average, especially at this point of his career. It's like, just hit me some bombs. But guys, he's not even doing that. He's not even hitting bombs. I guess he does have 6 this year, which is like better than last year, I guess, because he only had 15. But he's not cutting it. He's just not cutting it. He's getting paid way too much to be doing this. And the whole quote, I mean, he had a brutal, absolutely brutal series against the Red Sox. Then an article comes out of him talking to, I forget which publication, saying how he's non-committal about playing baseball in 2024. Dude, who asked you? Like, no one asked you if you're playing baseball in 2024. You should focus on right now. And maybe we give him an early shower because the guy is just cooked, I think. And it's the at-bats, right? He just looks lost. He's swinging and missing. He's flailing. He looks like he's guessing up there. And I think he's got to go, guys. I think he's got to go. And one more thing, just looking at his stats right here. The guy has been an above-average hitter his entire career. And I could have sworn when the Yankees acquired him, he'd be a good Yankee. He's like a hard-nosed guy. He's tough, a little bit rough around the edges. He's kind of flamboyant and boisterous personality. And he's had success everywhere. It's kind of like the douchebag type of guy. Gets to the Yankees, and it's like, I forgot how to hit. Even his last year, 2021 with Minnesota, a 127 OPS plus. He's an above-average hitter, hit 26 bombs, drove in a bunch of runs. And we're not even that far removed from 2019. He hit 37 home runs for Atlanta. 37. I mean, just tough. Just really tough, Dave. I don't really know what else to say about the bringer. I was super excited for him this season as a little bit of a renaissance. Maybe he can get something going, help us out, provide a little bit of spark, but it's been more of the same.
I got the idea just kind of hit me as you were talking lovely about Josh here. What if there's a trade? How many years does he have left on this contract? Do you happen to know?
I don't.
All right. Just, blindly talking here. Would you do a trade with the Angels to bring Rendon in and just switch that contract?
Okay, so he has
baseball and Yankee fans probably call me an absolute moron for saying that statement.
He has a mutual. I've never seen this. I'm sorry. Just give me a second. So he has a mutual option with the Yankees for next year for $6 million. So I guess both sides would have to agree on that money. And I don't think the Yankees are trying to I don't think they would care about that $6 million. I think they would probably decline it.
Yeah.
So I think this is it for him.
Okay. All right. So maybe that wouldn't be a great trade. I thought maybe he had another year or two left. I was thinking more because I know the Angels probably regret that signing with Rendon.
Yeah.
And he's actually batting close to 300 this year. Not a lot of pop. Maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea to bring him in as maybe like the two-hitter, kind of as a table setter. I know it's still a large contract, and maybe that's just putting more wounds.
It's just I just can't, man. It really bothers me because if you think back to the Yankees a few years ago, 2019, 2018, when we had all the power, right? We had Luke Voits of the world, and we had we had Edwin Encarnacion for a little bit. We had Gary hitting home runs, and Stanton and Judge healthy, and we had Didi Gregorius, right, and Glaber when he was hitting.
Greg
Bird. We had bombers, like big guys that were hitting. You were scared to face the Yankees. They were 8 deep of guys that can hit home runs.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got upset over that. We were like, this team is home run or strikeout. And we go to change the way our team's built. But now we're just bad. It's not like you've removed the strikeout. You removed both the home run and the strikeout. Now we're just terrible. So I don't know, and the Cashman, the smug remarks when he's like, I love Gio Urshela, but he's not Josh Donaldson. And I know Gio hasn't been great in the last couple of years, but it's just like, God.
He's having before his injury, he was having a good season in Anaheim.
Yeah.
He just got injured recently, which stinks.
He did. But it's misery right now for the Yanks. I just cannot believe we're talking about Josh Donaldson, $6 million for next year, instead of like we're the Yankees. This is the best we got right now.
My only question is, I'm shocked. Do you think that? Here's a big yes or no question.
Okay.
Will Donaldson get DFA'd at some point this year?
I think, yeah. You can't, dude. I think they'll put up a Volpe hitting 180. You can't be Josh Donaldson making $21 million a year, hitting 4th or 5th in the lineup, and hit 151. You just can't do that. and
Yeah.
and like he does have the 6 home runs. Like he has had some good moments, at times. But yeah, you just can't. You can't. I just can't. They're not going to put up with that, in my opinion.
No.
Real quick before we move along, did you guys see the Orioles Twitter tweeting about Aaron Hicks, and they said, "Imagine not having Aaron Hicks on your team."
Can they relax? Like,
Yeah, but
He's going to Seattle, guys. He's going to Seattle.
Jack, you already know if the Yanks move on from Donaldson, he's going to go somewhere and start contributing. That's just how it works. It's just how it works. The Mets know all about that too, Javi.
Oh, that's sounds about right. Sounds about right.
All right, with that being said, let's move right along into this episode's edition of Big D's Big Odds. Jack, not only do you have to watch your team lose a lot of games, but you also have to wear a Mets hat because you lost Big D's Big Odds last week. So next episode, we will see Jack B in a Mets hat, which is always a pleasure. But that's just more incentive for you to get off to a strong start this episode, Jack. So we're going to go to you first. So the Mets are playing in Houston for 3 games, correct, B?
That is correct, and I'm petrified.
Yep. So Brandon Nimmo, he's having a solid year. He's batting .329 away from Citi Field. So he's a .329 average in away games. So Jack, I'm gonna set an over/under line on Nimmo hits for this upcoming series. I'm gonna go 3.5.
Wow. 3.5 is a lot, Dave. Man. I'm going to go with the under. I'm going to say he has 3. I do love Nimmo. I think Nimmo, I've seen this on Twitter. The Yankees should have targeted Brandon Nimmo in the offseason last year instead of Rodon. Not really opposed. I think he might be my favorite Met right now.
Wow. Not even Tylor?
No, not even Tylor.
I'm actually going to smack the over. Nimmo is a beast. This guy can have a 4 game on any day of the night. Any game, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? He's a good player.
Any day of the night.
Any day of the night.
Oh, shit.
Very good.
English, no bueno.
Yeah, dude, you should almost have a podcast and speak. People would love to listen.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
All right, let's move right along, V. You're going to start us off. Yankees have the 24th best batting average, batting .230 on the season. The Kansas City Royals, who are now having a great year, have the 23rd best batting average, batting .233. So my simple question to you fellas is, after the Yankees' upcoming series against Seattle at home, 3-game series, will they have a higher team batting average than the Royals? V, what are your thoughts?
No.
No. Okay.
Dave, I'm going to go with yes here, and that is just because if you remember last time they played Seattle, they seemed to have those pitchers' numbers. I know that was with Aaron Judge in the lineup, and without Judge, seems like all the Yankees forget how to hit the ball. But I'm hoping that maybe they remember the last time they played this team and they can get some hits. And maybe
It looks like Bader's coming off the IL too, right?
Yeah, Tuesday he'll be playing.
Good. I'm still taking my answer, but just
Rodon set to rehab as well. I think Tuesday his rehab assignment starts, so maybe he'll be pitching.
big. I'm very looking forward to him pitching in New York. I'm very excited to see that.
I think Yankees fans would agree with you, V. We're all just anxious to see our big off-season acquisition, so hopefully that all goes well in this rehab assignment. Let's move right along and talk about Yankees pitching. Domingo Germán coming off a rough outing, but in general, he's pitching pretty well at home. He's pitching, he has a 2.92 ERA with the 2-3 record, but pretty low ERA. So I'm going to set an over-under earned runs line. I believe he's pitching the 3rd game at 3.5.
I'm gonna take the over. He could even allow 4 and still be an okay kind of start, but rough outing last time out. Seattle has a pretty good offense with Kalanick and Rodriguez. So I'm gonna take the over here.
I'm riding with my boy, Domingo. Going under.
I love it. I love it. All right, Jack. Tyler McGill is also coming off. Well, no, he's coming off a great outing. He tied a season high, 7 strikeouts in 6 innings, only giving up 1 run. He is set to, I believe, also pitch the 3rd game of their upcoming series against the Astros.
Yes.
So I'm going to set an over-under line on Tyler McGill strikeouts at 4.5.
Okay, Dave. I thought you were going to do a runs. I was going to slam that over.
No, I'm gonna go strikeouts.
Yeah, I'll take the over here, Tyler. Yeah, I'm thinking he strikes out a few Astros who have been struggling mightily, getting swept by Cincinnati, who are now like a game and a half out of first place. Something bizarre. We haven't seen Cincinnati for a very long time. So good for the Reds.
I believe isn't their longest win streak since like 2012? I think I saw.
Yeah, something
Incredible,
ridiculous.
It's the power of Ellie De La Cruz and Joey Votto's getting activated today. So huge news for. Listen, I like to see the underdogs, the young teams always do well. So I would love to see a battle between them and Pittsburgh for this NL Central crown. Screw everybody else.
There you go.
But Tyler McGill striking out more than 5 batters, my friend. I will take the over.
All right.
Big trip.
Big trip. All right, our last line of this episode: combined wins for the Mets and Yankees. 6 total games. I'm probably going to put out my lowest combined win total line of the season. I'm going to set an over-under line at 2.5 games for the 2 teams. Are we feeling optimistic?
Can I just say, Dave, the fact that you're even saying that and it's like a realistic and we're actually pondering it is
it's sad.
Absolute travesty to these 2 teams and how much money they spent in the offseason.
Sad.
And just it goes to show you where both of these teams are right now and how desperate they are for wins. I'm gonna go with the over though, V. I'm thinking there's just gotta be. I know the Mets are playing the Astros, that's brutal, but come on, man.
Verlander's pitching in the series, but the Mets are facing Hunter Brown, who's literally Verlander 2.0. He's like a remake of him. Framber Valdez and Christian Javier. But Mets are throwing Scherzer, Verlander, and Tyler. That's tough. That's a good series. There's good pitching matchups. And the Yankees are facing Seattle. I'm going to take the over because I want both teams to win their series. So let's take the over.
All right, well, you guys disagreed on a couple, so we will stay tuned. And believe it or not, yet again, I have a fun surprise for you guys next Thursday. So study up on your history. We like to go back in time on Thursday, so we're going to play a rendition of trivia. It's not trivia, but a rendition of trivia. So stay tuned for that and study up on both teams' histories. So, Jack, you really actually have to pay attention to the Mets' history, unfortunately. All right, real quick, we already talked about it a little bit, but we have the Mets squaring off against the Astros and the Yankees squaring off against the Mariners. So, V, let's start with you. What are you looking for in this upcoming series against the Astros in Houston?
Well, I'm looking for the offense to stay clicking. Alonso's back in. Maybe Lindor can start heating up. He looked pretty good his last game there against the Cardinals. And the big thing, and I said it against the Yankees, I've been saying it every freaking series, I said it for the Cardinals, the pitching needs to just step up again. And it's the starting pitching. I want to see Scherzer, Verlander, and McGill all go 6 or more innings, throwing allowing no more than 3 runs. I want each of them to do that. And if they do that, they're going to be in a good spot to win every game. And there hasn't been a pitcher doing that this year. And there was a crazy stat I read online. Last year, the Mets had only lost 3 games when they scored 7 or more runs. They've lost 8 of those already this year or something like that. That's on the pitching. The offense allows that decent amount of runs. You should be able to win that game. They're not doing it. So, big thing for me, I'm going to keep saying it until they start doing it, the pitching.
V, I agree with you as far as the Mets are concerned. I think what you're looking for as a Mets fan going into the series against the Astros is 2 good starts from Verlander and Scherzer. I could care less about McGill, no offense, but I think that's what you need to see. 2 good starts, and I would even be okay with, if I'm a Mets fan, 4 runs over 7 or 7 and 2/3. Pitt, you got to go deep into games. That's why they brought you in. You got to go deep into games. You got to keep the pitch count down. You can't, like Max Scherzer the last couple of starts, he just will unravel, and it's like, and there's nothing you could do when a guy's just giving up hit after hit, walking guys, hitting guys. He just unravels. So that's what you need, because the Astros are going to pitch. They're going to pitch. I think the offense is probably going to struggle, if I had to guess. So I would just, if I'm a Mets fan, I'm take a little back seat for the offense. They're going to have a tough time, I think. But what you're really looking for is the pitching. I think if you get a good outing from Verlander, Scherzer, how good would that feel as a Mets fan? How good would it feel to just see Verlander 7 strong, no earned, Scherzer 7 1/3, 2 earned runs? Even if you lose those games, you still feel confident. You can go out and replicate that performance, and that could change your season. That's how good you guys were last year, was the pitching. That's really what it was. The pitching was so outstanding. So, and that gives the bullpen a rest. It helps everything. So it goes all the way around. For the Yanks, I say it, I feel like every Monday when we go into the series, it's just they got to hit the ball. You got to hit the baseball with no Aaron Judge in the lineup. It's just, it's really that simple. I don't know what else to say. The pitching, they had that one bad game against the Red Sox when they let up 15 runs, but I can't really harp too much on the bullpen. I can't. They've been good all year. Starting pitching's been like middle of the pack, but Cole and Herman, for the most part, have been really, really good. So let's go. You got to win some games here.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, that is a great episode. That's our 29th episode. Hopefully we start having a little more fun, start talking about some more wins. Hopefully V's segment of the hot stove becomes longer than Jack's segment of the jack off, because that just shows that our teams are playing well. But with that being said, hey V, they can find us on Instagram, can they not?
They certainly can. At BQB Podcast. Shoot me a DM, comment, let me know what you guys want to see. If you guys tell me what you want to see, maybe I'll start doing it.
Maybe.
Make reels all the time.
If you're lucky, he'll listen to you. And Jack, they can find us on TikTok, can they not?
On the TikTok, BQB Podcast. Leave a like, leave a comment, give Dave a little happy birthday shout out. Let's go. Don't forget, like and subscribe to the YouTube. Leave us a comment there. And let's go. Ready to roll.
And of course, follow us on Twitter at BQB Podcast. Tell us how right we are. Tell us how wrong we are. Just talk to us on there. We'll have a good time. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio, on YouTube. We are everywhere. You can't escape us. In fact, if you go to your local deli and tell them to listen to the BQ Podcast, they're going to tell you they already do. It's that simple. With that being said, that wraps up this episode. We will catch you guys next time.